Magda Goebbels was not only the most devoted fan of Adolf Hitler and Nazism, but also an exemplary figure, a role model for German women. This was partly due to her strict adherence to Nazi doctrine and her marriage to the Minister of Propaganda of the Third Reich, Joseph Goebbels. Presenting a perfect image of the Aryan family was one of the government's most important communication tasks, and Magda ensured that it was maintained. However, there was a hidden secret about her origin that, if revealed, would have led to her expulsion from Nazism without hesitation. In today's video, we will try to create a profile of this devoted National Socialist, exploring her mysterious roots to her tragic end, considered one of the most atrocious tragedies among Nazi leaders. Welcome to a new edition of Military History. Get ready for a dark journey into Nazi Germany of the 20th century. Johanna Maria Magdalena Goebbels was born on November 11, 1901, the daughter of Augusta Behrendt, a maid, and supposedly the German industrialist Oskar Ritschl. However, Magda was registered with her mother's maiden name, as Augusta married the engineer the same year she gave birth, though they separated 4 years later. The couple divorced in 1905, and Magda's mother remarried in 1908 to Richard Friedlander, a wealthy Jewish merchant from Berlin she had met a decade earlier and had an affair with at that time. According to a 2016 investigation, this man would be Magda's true father. As absurd as it may sound, everything indicates that the future wife of Joseph Goebbels had Jewish blood running through her veins. Magda's secret about her origins was mentioned in the propaganda minister's diaries, where he wrote that his wife had discovered something horrible related to her biography. Some specialists argue that this supposedly shameful fact, being the daughter of a Jew, is one of the probable reasons why Magda Goebbels behaved so fanatically towards Nazism. Her actions aimed to make it clear that, even if her genetics were related to the Jewish people, she was willing to carry the rejection of her origins to the extreme. However, this would not be the only close tie that the Nazi First Lady would have with Jews throughout her life. Magda spent her childhood in a religious boarding school in Belgium, which employed strict education methods, contributing to the development of a strong personality and attachment to order and strong figures. When World War I broke out, the young Magda was studying in Berlin. Interestingly, during that time she became attracted to Buddhist philosophy and advocated for a culture of non-violence, a stark contrast to who would later become one of Hitler's most ardent supporters. After completing her education at the boarding school, when Magda was 19 years old, she met an attractive and elegant German millionaire named Günther Quandt, a 38-year-old widower. The couple fell in love instantly, and on January 4, 1921, they married in the quiet city of Bad Godesberg. They had a son, Harold, that same year, but Magda soon began to regret her decision. She felt trapped in a dull marriage, in an ultra-conservative family, and realized that her new husband was a cold and work-addicted man. Truly disappointed, Magda then met a Jewish student and leader of a Zionist group named Chaim Vitali Arlosorov, with whom she had a romantic relationship. This was Magda's first involvement with Zionism. With him, she learned to speak Hebrew and was tempted to convert to Judaism, another well-kept secret by the so-called Nazi First Lady. In the end, her husband Günther discovered everything and, enraged by his wife's infidelity, kicked her out of the house, divorcing her in 1929. Magda Goebbels was fortunate that her beloved Adolf Hitler's party was not in power at that time, or she and her lover would likely have been sent to an extermination camp. Thanks to the generous pension from her ex-husband, she could move with her son Harold to a beautiful house in Berlin, until in the summer of 1930, her life would change forever. Magda had become an influential and wealthy woman in Berlin society, seeking to entertain herself in the best possible way, and decided to attend a party event of an emerging politician making waves, National Socialism. Joseph Goebbels, then a leading figure in the Nazi movement, went to the Berlin Sports Palace to deliver a speech and spread the party's ideas. The fiery oratory of the future Nazi propaganda minister deeply impressed Magda, and after the event, she joined National Socialism, quickly becoming one of the most important Nazi leaders in her district. Magda began volunteering at the Nazi Party headquarters and eventually became the secretary to the district's deputy leader, an unusual opportunity for a divorced mother at that time. During this time, she personally met Goebbels, with whom she started collaborating, initially archiving all his journalistic articles. Almost immediately, she became attracted to the Nazi leader, a man with little physical appeal, as he was very short and walked with a limp, but whom Magda fell in love with due to his intellect. The devotion and loyalty that Magda Goebbels felt for men with power, intelligence, and courage would be crucial in the course of her history collaborating with the Third Reich. If Magda's adoration for Joseph Goebbels was high, when she met Adolf Hitler, her veneration reached a new limit. The fondness and interest were mutual, so they forged a deep relationship in which Magda became part of the small but select group of female friends of the Führer. The German Chancellor even served as the best man at Goebbels' wedding when the happy couple married on December 19, 1931. Photos and testimonies from the time recorded a certain discomfort from the propaganda minister regarding the affinity and attraction between Hitler and Magda. However, it was never proven that there was a romantic involvement. Evidently, their connection was of a platonic nature. After their marriage, the Goebbels moved to an exclusive mansion in Reichskanzlerplatz, which would eventually become the center of parties and soirees for the Berlin bourgeoisie, but above all, an operational point for the leader of the Third Reich. In the following years, the couple had 6 children, naming them with names starting with the initial of their revered leader's last name, the letter H. The children were named Helga, Hildegard, Helmut, Holdine, Hedwig, and Heidrun, demonstrating the fanatical fervor, particularly of the mother, for the Führer. Hitler rewarded her by making her the first woman to receive the Cross of Honor of the German Mother, an award that made her a role model for other German women. Magda became a kind of First Lady of the Third Reich, largely because Hitler did not marry until the final hours of his life and always kept his romantic relationships hidden. However, not everything in the life of Germany's most exemplary couple was perfect. It was an open secret that Goebbels was known for his voracious sexual appetite, satisfied with young women aspiring to be part of the Nazi propaganda film apparatus. An illustrative incident was when an extramarital relationship between the minister and a 22-year-old Czech actress came to light, deeply affecting Magda, despite her having had some affairs of her own. Magda Goebbels felt very secure in her relationship with the Führer, so she did not hesitate to ask him for permission to divorce her unfaithful husband. What she had not foreseen was that this decision would cause a scandal and an indelible stain on the perfect family image that the Goebbels presented to the German population. Above all, it would be a dishonor to the image of the propaganda minister. Despite her closeness to Magda, Hitler simply denied her permission and ordered her to continue with the facade. That decisive response surprised Magda, who, bewildered, realized at that moment that her life was not truly in her hands, but completely under the power of the leader of the Third Reich. Things were not going to improve for Magda, who from 1942 onwards began to see her health deteriorate. The German First Lady suffered from severe neuralgia, a disorder affecting her face and causing sharp nerve spasms that had left half of her face paralyzed. By then, Magda Goebbels was a physically and mentally ill woman, with heart problems and serious episodes of depression, almost involuntarily accompanying the activities, decisions, and atrocities committed by both her husband and her leader, advancing with the terror that loomed over all of Europe. For the last weeks of the war, Magda had no choice but to take refuge with her family in Hitler's bunker as the Allies approached Berlin from both fronts. Despite some escape possibilities, she had already decided to end her days with the 2 men who had most marked her life, her husband and her Führer. When German defeat seemed inevitable, Magda confessed to Traudl Juncker, the Chancellor's personal secretary, chilling words that would go down in history. "It is better that my children die than live in shame and disgrace. Our children have no place in a Germany like the one that will come after the war." On May 1, 1945, after rejecting several opportunities to escape with her children, Magda Goebbels made a chilling decision. Her pessimistic and cruel view of the German future after Nazism convinced her to prepare her 6 children, 5 girls, and 1 boy, for death. She and her husband instructed SS dentist Helmut Kunz to inject morphine into the children to put them to sleep, allowing them to place a cyanide capsule between their teeth. Magda herself would administer the poison to each child, extinguishing their young lives. Later, Magda ingested the lethal cyanide she had used to poison the children, while Joseph Goebbels, looking into his wife's eyes for the last time, shot himself in the head. We are reaching the end of this installment, and we wanted to ask you, do you believe that the secrets of Magda Goebbels' relationships with Jews, both in blood and the affair she had in 1929, influenced her perspective on the people Hitler wanted to exterminate? Leave your opinions in the comments below. That's it for today's video. Thank you for staying until the end, and we look forward to seeing you in the upcoming editions of Military History.